Right, good evening everyone and welcome to another video. I'm just going to do you another little news video of what's been going on over the last week. Try and keep the channel going and try and keep ourselves occupied and give you something to watch until we have some football back to actually go to. So, on Monday, the government gave the green light for elite sport to return. So these were sports rugby, golf, cricket, tennis, F1, snooker, and horse racing, I believe. Um, Snooker and horse racing came back this week, starting Monday. I think there was some snooker Champions League in Milton Keynes, I think, and there was some horse racing, certainly at Newcastle. I don't know if there's been any more since, but I'm sure there has. And the other games, it's up to their governing bodies to decide as and when they return, if they see it safe to do so. I've seen the cricket is on its way back, possibly the golf. Not seen anything about rugby or tennis, but I believe the F1 is coming back in July. Anyway, this is a football channel, so we will get on to the latest football news that I have come across over the last week or so. And we will begin with the Premier League. There is now less than 2 weeks to go until the Premier League is back. I am filming this on Thursday evening at 8:30. So here we go. The Premier League due to come back on the 17th, and the first game will be Aston Villa against Sheffield United, live on Sky Sports at 6 o'clock. I haven't seen anything about it, but I would assume the other game, Manchester City against Arsenal, will be the 8 o'clock kickoff on that Wednesday evening. That will then bring everybody in line. They will all have played the same amount of fixtures, and then the league will start proper on the Saturday the 20th. There's been a bit of talk about the TV rebate this week. Obviously, the Premier League has to pay back the money back to the broadcasters because they haven't been able to provide the product that they paid for. Sky Sports have come forward straight away. They are owed £170 million by the Premier League clubs, but they have said to the Premier League they can repay that in the 2021-22 season. So that's quite a good thing because that may mean, not necessarily, but it may mean that the money will stay in the game, it will go on transfers, and it will filter down through all of the leagues, which will be very good. To those of you out there who have been saying, why are they bothering continuing? Well, there's a doomsday scenario. If the Premier League does get curtailed and does not finish, they will owe £762.2 million in rebates. If that happens, it'll be an absolute disaster for the whole football pyramid because obviously the Premier League will have to pay back all of that 762 million, and that may impact on the solidarity payments down to the EFL. I know the Championship clubs who don't get parachute payments, they all get just over £4 million from the Premier League, and obviously it filters down to League One and League Two, who get slightly less. So, to those of you thinking why are they bothering carrying on, there is 762 million reasons why. The latest test results for the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been 1,197 in the latest round. I think they're on the 5th round of tests, and there's only been one positive test at Tottenham Hotspur. We don't know whether it's a player or one of the members of staff, but one positive test in almost 1,200 is very good. So we're looking good for the restart. There was a Premier League shareholders meeting today, and that was to discuss all sorts of things. They discussed neutral venues, and the clubs have all agreed in principle to the use of neutral venues if absolutely necessary. The majority of matches will be played in their usual grounds anyway, barring anything going wrong. For example, if there's a local spike in coronavirus in the area, then they'll see about playing it somewhere else. They also discussed how to end the season, but no decision was made. I believe they are going to cross that bridge if they come to it. So they discussed it, but no decision. One thing that was approved today, and it's been spoken of already, is substitutes. The matchday squads will be increased to 20. I think it used to be 17 or 8. No, it used to be 18. So 20-man squads, that gives teams 9 substitutes. And they have approved 5 substitutes to be allowed during the game instead of 3. This is to help players that they've been worried about players coming back and getting injured because they haven't had as long to prepare for the restart of the season. So there will only be, though, 3 opportunities to make those substitutes to minimise the disruption to the game. So 5 subs allowed, but they can only do it at 3 opportunities, a bit like now, really. On to the EFL, and, well, poor Rick Parry trying to sort this lot out. We've just had a deadline pass this week. I think it was Tuesday or yesterday. That was for clubs to put in their ideas on how to end the season if the season is to end. The latest rounds of tests in a championship, there were 9 positive tests in 1,094 players and club staff from the 24 clubs. So that's very good. There is no testing programme currently in League One because League One can't decide what they want to do at the moment. In League Two, 126 players and club staff were tested from 4 clubs and there were no positive tests. So that's brilliant. Why 4 clubs, you may ask? League Two are looking to curtail, so the 4 clubs are the playoff clubs and they are hoping to continue with the playoffs. So that's why there's only 4 clubs tested. This Tuesday coming, which I believe is the 9th of June, there's an EFL meeting to determine how to end the season. As I understand it, the Championship are going to play on. League One are very undecided, and League Two want to curtail with promotion and relegation and playoffs to be played. If it ends up finishing on points per game, the playoffs will be, I do believe Cheltenham will go up to 4th above Exeter, so it will be Cheltenham against Northampton and Exeter against Colchester. So the meeting is to decide whether the season continues, whether they want to end it, curtail it, or what they want to do. So we will find this out on Tuesday. So I've got here the EFL draft framework for how the season will be ended, should it be ended. Resuming the 2019-20 season with the existing format remains the most appropriate course of action from a sporting integrity perspective, but the board accepts there are circumstances that may lead to curtailment, as has been demonstrated with League Two, or situations subsequently transpires whereby the season is unable to conclude. This means that, in the event of an early curtailment, final divisional placings should be determined on unweighted points per game if required. Unweighted points per game is basically where they take the amount of points a team's got divided by how many games they've played. That gives them a number. That will be their final, how they will decide the final league position. Promotion and relegation should be retained. Absolutely, can't argue with that. It should stand. Playoffs should be played in all circumstances, but should not be extended beyond 4 teams. There has been talk of allowing more teams into the playoffs. So obviously the EFL are saying no, the playoffs will remain 4 teams. If a scenario arises whereby the playoffs cannot be played, the EFL board will determine the appropriate course of action. Fair enough. The board considers that the majority required to curtail the 2019-20 season in any division should be 51%. Determining whether or not to curtail the season is a decision for each division to take. So, like we said, the Championship wants to play on, League Two wants to curtail, League One very undecided. The principle of relegation across all 3 divisions is integral to the integrity of the pyramid from the Premier League down to the National League, provided we have assurances that the National League will start the 2020-21 season i.e. the relegated club in League Two has somewhere to play. Any regulatory solution should be relevant and specific to the current challenges posed by the COVID-19 outbreak and reach a conclusion that is clear and effective, with the impact and justifications easy for all stakeholders to understand. So that is the EFL's stand on it. Basically, if the season is going to end, points per game will be promotions, will be relegations, and the playoffs will go ahead if possible. Now, like I said earlier, there was a time just past where clubs could get in their ideas for how to end the season should it need to be finished. Quite a few clubs did this. The ones who put forward proposals were Barnsley, and their proposal was no relegation. Ipswich and Lincoln City have put proposals forward. I've no idea what those proposals are, and indeed I've got no idea why they've put proposals forward, because they're both mid-table in League One, but they have. Stevenage, bottom of League Two, have proposed no relegation, which obviously they would, and Tranmere, who are third from bottom in League One. Tranmere have been very vocal in the fact that they don't want the season to end. They want to play on, but they are not very hopeful of it playing on because a lot of the League One clubs basically can't afford to do it. So they have put forward a proposal, very interesting proposal, and it goes a little bit like this. I hope you keep up with this. Good luck. Bear with me. Tranmere's proposal maintains the principle of promotions and relegations. It maximises the revenue for EFL clubs and minimises any negative financial impacts. It enables clubs who wish to stop playing immediately to do so to protect their future. It enables clubs who are in the promotion and playoff spots to achieve promotion through sporting merit. It satisfies the sporting integrity test by giving automatic promotion to those who were virtually assured of promotion and relegating those who were virtually assured of relegation. It allows those only marginally outside of the playoff places to compete for promotion should they wish. It protects those who were only marginally inside the relegation zone to avoid relegation, recognising that they do not have the opportunity to play to achieve that. That means Tranmere. It recognises and addresses the inherent flaws of points per game that football people will understand. Now, what they mean by that, if you may not understand it, I'll give you an example, which you may be aware of. Last season, with 12 games to go, Aston Villa were around about 12th, 13th in the Championship. Look, they had absolutely no hope of promotion, but out of nowhere, they went on a 10-game winning run, and they ended up in the playoffs, and they ended up winning those playoffs and getting promoted to the Premier League this season. Had points per game been applied at that point, if the season had been ended, Villa would have got absolutely nowhere near the playoffs. They'd have ended somewhere mid-table, but obviously, as it went on, they went on that ridiculous run, and that's where they ended. It can happen. So this is what they mean by points per game system being flawed. It restores the EFL to 72 teams immediately. It achieves the principal outcomes desired by League Two as per their indicative vote, no relegation of Stevenage and promotion playoffs to go ahead. It allows each division to take its own view on whether raw points per game or applying a margin for error is more appropriate for their particular division given the different dynamics, and it allows promotion of the champions of the National League. There's more. I hope you're keeping up with this. So Tranmere's proposal, the essence of their proposal is that in the event of a division not completing its season, promotions and relegations would be decided in the following manner. The league table is calculated using a simple points per game basis. There is then applied to the table the statistical average actual margin for error over the last 3 years. They refer to this as the MFE. They use that to determine the range of statistically likely outcomes for each team, the MFE outcome. Each division votes on whether it wishes to accept the points per game outcome or the MFE outcome. If a division adopts the points per game outcome, promotions and relegations in that division occur on the basis proposed by the EFL, which is points per game. If a division adopts the MFE proposal, teams who would be assured of automatic promotion when the MFE is applied are automatically promoted. Teams in the playoff places, or who could be in the playoff spots when the margin for error is applied, should be invited but not compelled to compete in a playoff tournament. Teams in the relegation places, even where the MFE is applied, would be relegated, and teams in the relegation places who could avoid relegation if the MFE is applied are not relegated. That, once again, does apply to Tranmere. So they sort of go on and compare now the two different ways of doing it, and the way it would work out would be in League One. The application of the points per game outcome sees Wycombe replace Peterborough in the playoff positions. Applying the MFE outcome sees Wycombe in the playoffs, but along with other clubs, Rotherham, Peterborough, Sunderland and Doncaster, who are included as potential playoff candidates. This results in 8 clubs eligible for playoffs for 2 promotion spots. Coventry City are automatically promoted. Tranmere would not be relegated. League 2, there is no difference between the current table positions and the points per game outcome. I do believe that's slightly wrong, because like I said earlier, I do think if they apply points per game, Cheltenham Town would go above Exeter into 4th. Exeter would drop to 5th because Cheltenham have got a game in hand. So it's not strictly true, I don't think, but hey-ho, that's what they've said. Applying the MFE outcome, 2 other clubs, Port Vale and Bradford, are included as potential playoff candidates, which results in a maximum of 9 clubs eligible for playoffs for 3 promotion spots. As none of the top 3 clubs are sufficiently clear of 4th place to be promoted automatically. Now, I don't think League 2 will go for this, really. Well, certainly the top 3 won't. Stevenage would not be relegated. Interesting one. We note that the Championship currently intends to play on, but for the sake of transparency, we have calculated what the impact would be if they did curtail early, using the MFE outcome compared to the points per game outcome. There is no difference between the current table positions and the points per game outcome. I'm not sure about that one, but I think they are right with that. Under the MFE outcome, as the top 2 clubs are not sufficiently clear of 3rd place, they would be included in the playoffs along with the following 10 clubs, so 10 clubs would compete for 3 promotion spaces through the playoffs. The bottom 2 teams would be relegated, but the third from team bottom would not, who I believe are Charlton Athletic. So, that's Tranmere's proposals. Quite interesting. Now, like I said, they need 51% of the vote, so I think they would need 12 clubs to go for that. I'm not sure whether they will. I've just got a bit of a feeling that the Championship's going to carry on. Not a problem. League 2 are going to curtail and they will play their playoffs. Stevenage will get relegated. And League 1 could go either way. I'll put my neck on a limb and say I think League 1 are going to curtail and just play the playoffs. There will be some unhappy teams over that decision, but that's what I think will happen. They'll curtail, do the same as League 2. So that meeting is on Tuesday, and we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments what you think will happen. I'll be interested to read them. And finally, we go into non-league, as I cover a lot of non-league on this channel. So Non-league. Once the National League makes a decision of the season, it will need to be voted for by the FA Council. Our National League haven't made any decisions yet. They've been quite quiet. There's been no correspondence between them or their clubs in the last 3 weeks, I believe. And that's basically because they're waiting on the EFL, see what they're going to do. But that will need to be voted for by the FA Council. This is the same FA Council who voted overwhelmingly to null and void steps 3 to 7 of non-league. Interesting. How will they decide this time? We shall see. Let me know in the comments what you think. In deciding a new start date for next season, the National League will be guided by the FA, the EFL season dates, the views of their clubs, and plans for the rest of non-league. So National League are very much holding fire at the moment. The league believes it's not practical or sustainable to start next season behind closed doors. Obviously, non-league clubs don't have as much money as Football League and the Premier League, so they need fans, bums on seats, feet on terraces. And just to end, we're going to go on to a bit of good news. Despite the season ending early, Vanarama has paid up in full their sponsorship for this season. So very well done to Vanarama for that brilliant gesture. Not anybody's fault that this has all ended, but they didn't need to do that. Fair play, Vanarama, well done you. And they are fully committed going forward. So more excellent news for non-league there. The FA have called a meeting on June the 19th, believed to be to discuss possible scenarios for the 2020-21 season. All Step 5 and Step 6 leagues have been invited to attend. I believe that involves 34 leagues altogether, so it looks like they're trying to move forward ready for next season. I'll bring you news of that as soon as I have it. The FA still also want to complete the FA Trophy and the FA Vase competitions if possible. So that's very good news. They will reschedule them when football is safe to resume in non-league. So very good news for the FA Trophy. There was a semi-final stage and a team I've watched a few times on this channel. Go back and check out the videos because there are some very good games. Halesowen Town, they were due to play Concord Rangers, and Harrogate Town were due to play Notts County. And in the FA Vase, Corinthian were due to play Hebburn Town, and Bitton were due to play Concert. So, fingers crossed, the FA still want to get that done, and I hope they get it done, and I hope when we get to it, it is safe to go and watch, because I was looking forward to non-league finals day this year, as I have done for the last 2 years. Been to the last two, great watch, brilliant day out, and I was really hoping Halesowen Town were going to make the final, because like I said, I've watched them a few times this season. They're great to watch, and it's always a pleasure. So there we go. That's where we're at the moment. Leave your comments below. Like I said, I'd be interested to see what you think. Let me know. Are you looking forward to the return of the Premier League? How do you think the vote is going to go on Tuesday for the EFL? Do you think the Championship will continue and League One and League Two will curtail like I do? That's just my thoughts. Although League One is very iffy, anything could happen there. And just leave any of your comments on anything I've said to you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, do hit like, the thumbs up button. Help me get this video out to as many people as possible. And if you aren't subscribed, do hit subscribe and hit that bell. Because like I said, as soon as this football comes back and I can get to go and watch it, we'll get back to normal and bring you the normal match day videos. But until then, I'll try and do things like this, try and keep the channel ticking over, try and keep you all in the loop. Like I said, let me know what you think. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. See you in the next video. Good night.